Have you ever wondered why some women walk into a room and instantly command respect, calm, and admiration without saying a word? What if I told you that it's not luck, beauty, or even talent, but a mindset, a secret approach to life that confident women cultivate every single day? Today, I'm going to share the exact wisdom that transforms uncertainty into unshakable confidence and fear into fearless action. By the end of this, you won't just know it, you'll begin living it. If you commit to understanding and practicing these principles today, you will not just act more confidently, you will embody a presence that naturally commands respect, inspires trust, and creates opportunities that others can only dream of. This is not a temporary boost, it is a transformation grounded in timeless wisdom. 1. Confidence is rooted in self-mastery, not external validation. Confidence does not begin where most people are looking. It does not begin in applause. It does not begin in approval. It does not begin when others say, "You are enough." True confidence begins in a far quieter place, within the disciplined relationship you have with yourself. Most people believe confidence is something you receive. They wait for permission. They wait for recognition. They wait for proof. And in this waiting, they hand their power away. The confident woman does the opposite. She does not wait to be seen. She sees herself clearly first. Self-mastery is the art of governing your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your impulses, your fears. When these are uncontrolled, you are ruled by circumstance. When they are understood, you become steady, regardless of what happens around you. Observe carefully. The moment you depend on external validation, your confidence becomes fragile. It rises when praised and collapses when ignored. This is not confidence. This is dependency dressed as strength. Self-mastery removes this dependency by anchoring your worth in awareness, not opinion. A confident woman asks herself difficult questions. She watches her reactions instead of justifying them. She notices when she seeks approval and gently withdraws from that habit, not through force, but through understanding. She knows that every time she acts only to be liked, she betrays her own integrity. Self-mastery requires discipline, but not harshness. Discipline is often misunderstood as control. In truth, discipline is clarity. It is choosing what aligns with your values even when emotions pull you elsewhere. It is the ability to pause before reacting. That pause is power. When you master yourself, you stop chasing validation because you are no longer empty. You are full of presence, full of direction, full of calm certainty. Others feel this immediately. They sense that you are not asking anything from them. And paradoxically, this is when respect naturally arises. Confidence built on self-mastery is quiet. It does not need to announce itself. It does not compete. It does not compare. It stands firmly because it is rooted deeply, like a mountain, unmoved by weather, untouched by noise. But here is the truth most avoid. Self-mastery is not comfortable. It requires you to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. It asks you to face insecurity instead of hiding it. And in this confrontation, something powerful begins to awaken. Because the moment you stop needing validation, you begin to hear something else, something subtler, deeper, and far more important. And that voice does not shout, it whispers. And to hear it, you must first learn stillness. Stillness is where confidence truly starts. And stillness leads us to the next understanding. 2. Emotional calmness is the cornerstone of inner power. Power is often mistaken for intensity, for loudness, for dominance. But true power is calm. Emotional calmness is not the absence of feeling, it is the mastery of it. It is the ability to experience emotion without being consumed by it. When emotions rule you, your confidence becomes unstable. One harsh word can shake you. One unexpected event can derail you. Emotional calmness creates inner stability, and stability is strength. Observe those who truly command presence. They are not rushed. They are not reactive. They listen more than they speak. Their movements are deliberate. Their words are measured. This calm is not weakness. It is control, refined into grace. Emotional calmness begins with awareness. You cannot calm what you do not observe. When anger arises, most people become anger. When fear arises, they become fear. The confident woman notices anger. She notices fear. She creates space between herself and the emotion. This space is critical. In that space, choice exists. Without it, reaction is automatic. With it, response becomes intentional. And every intentional response strengthens inner power. Calmness does not mean suppression. Suppression creates tension. Calmness means allowing emotion to pass through without attaching identity to it. You feel, but you do not drown. You acknowledge, but you do not obey blindly. There is a deep confidence that comes from knowing, no matter what arises within me, I can hold it. This knowing changes how you walk, how you speak, how you face conflict. You are no longer afraid of your inner world, so the outer world loses its power over you. Emotional calmness also sharpens perception. When emotions are loud, wisdom becomes quiet. When emotions settle, clarity emerges. You begin to see situations as they are, not as your fear paints them. Decisions become cleaner. Boundaries become firmer. A calm mind is difficult to manipulate. A calm heart is difficult to intimidate. This is why calmness is the cornerstone of inner power. It is not flashy. It is not dramatic. But it is unshakable. Yet calmness alone is not enough. Calm without understanding can become passivity. Calm without insight can become avoidance. Inner power requires more than peace. It requires depth. And depth is born when you stop trying to control life and instead begin to understand it. 3. True confidence comes from understanding, not control. Most people exhaust themselves trying to control outcomes. They control conversations, they control appearances, they control perceptions. And in this endless effort, they lose themselves. Control is rooted in fear. The fear that if things unfold naturally, you will not be enough. Understanding dissolves this fear. When you understand yourself, others, and life's patterns, control becomes unnecessary. True confidence is relaxed because it trusts understanding. It knows that not everything needs to be managed. Some things need to be observed, some need to be accepted, some need to be released. Understanding begins with listening, not only to others, but to yourself. Why does this situation disturb me? Why does this opinion threaten me? Why does this outcome matter so much? These questions are not meant to judge, but to reveal. When you understand your triggers, they lose power. When you understand your patterns, you can change them. When you understand impermanence, you stop clinging. And in this letting go, confidence becomes effortless. Control creates rigidity. Understanding creates adaptability. The confident woman does not force herself into situations that drain her. She reads energy. She senses alignment. She moves with intelligence rather than insistence. Understanding also brings compassion. When you see that others act from their own fears and limitations, you stop personalizing everything. Criticism no longer defines you. Rejection no longer wounds you deeply. You understand that life is not attacking you. It is expressing itself. This understanding creates freedom, and freedom is the highest form of confidence. Freedom from approval, freedom from fear, freedom from the need to prove anything. When you stop trying to control how you are perceived, you become authentic. When you stop controlling outcomes, you become present. When you stop controlling life, you begin to live it fully. True confidence is not rigid. It is fluid. It bends without breaking. It adapts without losing essence. It stands firm without resistance. And here lies the quiet secret. When understanding deepens, effort reduces. Confidence becomes natural. Presence becomes magnetic. Wisdom begins to speak without words. But understanding itself must be cultivated. And once it is, something even more subtle begins to emerge. An awareness that transforms not just confidence but the way you exist in the world. 4. Silence can be more powerful than words. Silence is often misunderstood. Many believe silence means absence, weakness, or submission. But silence, when cultivated with awareness, becomes presence in its purest form. It is not empty. It is full of observation, full of intention, full of power. Words are easy. Silence is difficult. Words allow escape. Silence demands honesty. When you speak constantly, you hide behind sound. When you become silent, you meet yourself. A confident woman understands this distinction. She does not rush to fill space with explanations. She does not defend every thought. She does not react to every provocation. Her silence is deliberate. And because it is deliberate, it speaks louder than words ever could. Silence creates gravity. When you pause instead of reacting, the world leans in. When you listen instead of interrupting, understanding deepens. When you withhold words that are born from emotion rather than wisdom, your presence becomes grounded. Observe how conflict escalates. One word invites another. One reaction multiplies tension. Silence interrupts this chain. It breaks momentum. It introduces awareness where chaos expected continuation. Silence is not avoidance. It is mastery of timing. The confident woman knows when to speak and when not to. She understands that words, once released, cannot be retrieved. Silence preserves energy. It protects clarity. In silence, you observe not only others, but yourself. You notice impulses rising. You notice the urge to explain, justify, or impress. And instead of obeying these urges, you witness them. This witnessing transforms impulse into insight. Many fear silence because it reveals insecurity. When there is nothing to say, the mind becomes loud. Doubt surfaces, old patterns knock. But those who stay learn something rare. Silence does not destroy you. It refines you. Silence allows others to reveal themselves. People speak more when you speak less. Truth rises when it is not crowded by opinion. This is why silence sharpens perception. The confident woman uses silence as a mirror. She lets others project, react, unfold. She does not rush to correct or control. She learns. Silence also strengthens inner authority. When you are not dependent on being heard, your words gain weight. When you finally speak, people listen. Not because you demand attention, but because you earned it through restraint. In silence, confidence deepens. Not because you disappear, but because you become anchored, rooted, still. And in that stillness, something awakens, a heightened awareness that begins to shape not only how you speak, but how you think. Because once silence is mastered externally, attention naturally turns inward. 5. Awareness of your thoughts shapes your reality. Every experience you have passes through thought before it becomes meaning. Though, Ut is the lens. Awareness is the choice to examine the lens instead of blindly looking through it. Most people live inside their thoughts without knowing it. They believe every thought is true. Every assumption is fact. Every fear is a warning. And because of this, their reality becomes narrow, reactive, and predictable. The confident woman develops awareness of thought. She watches her mind the way one watches clouds pass across the sky. Thoughts arise, thoughts dissolve. She does not chase them. She does not fight them. She observes. This observation changes everything. When you are unaware of thought, it controls behavior. When you become aware of thought, behavior becomes a choice, and choice is freedom. Notice how a single thought can alter posture, breath, and emotion. One memory tightens the chest. One assumption drains energy. One comparison diminishes presence. Awareness interrupts this process. Awareness creates space. In that space, you are no longer compelled to act out every mental narrative. You can pause, you can question, you can redirect. The confident woman asks, is this thought useful? Is it true? Is it aligned with who I choose to become? If not, she lets it pass. This does not require force. Force strengthens resistance. Awareness dissolves attachment. When you see a thought clearly, it loses its grip. Thoughts repeat because they are believed. Beliefs shape decisions. Decisions shape habits. Habits shape identity. Awareness enters at the root and changes the entire structure. Reality, as you experience it, is not objective, it is filtered. When your thoughts are chaotic, the world feels hostile. When your thoughts are fearful, opportunities appear threatening. When your thoughts are calm, reality opens. Awareness does not mean positive thinking, it means honest seeing. Some thoughts are uncomfortable. Some reveal insecurity, envy, or doubt. Awareness does not judge these thoughts, it illuminates them, and illumination is transformative. As awareness deepens, you stop identifying with every inner voice. You recognize that you are not your thoughts, you are the one who notices them. This realization is subtle, yet profound. It shifts identity from mind to awareness, from reaction to observation, from confusion to clarity. With clarity comes confidence. Not arrogance, not certainty about outcomes, but certainty about self. Yet awareness alone reveals something further. When you observe thoughts, you also observe judgment. And judgment, when left unchecked, quietly drains energy and distorts perception. To move forward, something must be released. 6. Letting go of judgment frees your energy. Judgment is heavy. It weighs down the mind and hardens the heart. It consumes energy that could otherwise be used for growth, creativity, and presence. Most judgment is unconscious. You judge yourself. You judge others. You judge moments, outcomes, and emotions. And each judgment tightens something inside you. The confident woman learns to recognize judgment not as truth, but as habit. Judgment creates separation between who you are and who you think you should be, between others and your expectations, between the present moment and acceptance. When you judge yourself harshly, confidence collapses. When you judge others constantly, connection dissolves. When you judge life, peace becomes impossible. Letting go of judgment does not mean losing standards. It means releasing unnecessary resistance. It means seeing clearly without attaching worth or blame. Observe judgment closely. It often disguises itself as protection, as intelligence, as moral clarity. But beneath it lies fear. Fear of being wrong. Fear of being inadequate. Fear of losing control. When judgment is released, energy returns. You stop fighting reality. You stop writing stories that do not serve you. You become lighter. This lightness affects posture, voice, and presence. People feel at ease around you, not because you approve of everything, but because you do not impose unnecessary tension. Self-judgment is the most destructive. It repeats old narratives. It punishes growth. It resists change. The confident woman treats herself with firm compassion. She corrects without cruelty. She reflects without condemnation. Without judgment, learning accelerates. Mistakes become information, not identity. Feedback becomes guidance, not threat. Growth becomes natural. Letting go of judgment also sharpens discernment. You see more clearly when emotion is not clouded by opinion. You respond wisely instead of reacting emotionally. This release does not happen overnight. Judgment has momentum. But each moment of awareness loosens its grip. Each breath taken without evaluation restores balance. As judgment fades, something unexpected appears: gratitude, acceptance, ease. And in that ease, confidence becomes effortless, not because you are perfect, but because you are present. Presence leads somewhere deeper, beyond thought, beyond judgment, toward a state where confidence is no longer practiced, but embodied. And that is where the next understanding begins. 7. Every challenge is a mirror reflecting your inner strength. Life does not place challenges in your path by accident. Each difficulty arrives with precision, shaped to reveal something within you that you have not yet seen clearly. What you call an obstacle is often a mirror, reflecting the depth of your inner strength or the areas where it has not yet been claimed. Most people ask, "Why is this happening to me?" The confident woman asks, "What is this showing me?" This shift in perspective changes everything. When challenges are seen as punishment, they create resentment. When seen as mirror, they create growth. The experience itself does not change, only the relationship to it does. A mirror does not judge. It simply reflects. Challenges do the same. They reveal patience or impatience, courage or avoidance, trust or fear. They expose habits that comfort hides. When life is smooth, strength sleeps. When resistance appears, strength wakes. The confident woman does not rush to escape difficulty. She studies it. She notices how she responds under pressure. Does she contract or expand? Does she blame or take responsibility? Does she harden or soften? Each response is information. Inner strength is not loud. It does not announce itself in moments of ease. It is revealed quietly when plans dissolve, when expectations fail, when certainty disappears. These moments strip away performance and expose truth. Challenges also test alignment. When something feels unbearable, it often points to a misalignment between values and actions. The mirror asks, are you living in integrity or in habit? Are you moving forward consciously or being carried by momentum? Avoiding challenges delays this insight. Facing them accelerates maturity. The confident woman understands that strength is not proven by winning every battle, but by remaining present in uncertainty. She learns to stay grounded when answers are unclear. She breathes where others panic. She listens where others react. This does not make challenges disappear. It transforms how they are held. Over time, something subtle happens. Fear loses its authority. Not because fear is gone, but because it is understood. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once felt personal becomes instructive. The mirror begins to show not weakness but resilience, and as resilience grows, perception shifts again. Challenges stop feeling like interruptions. They begin to feel like invitations, calling attention to a deeper layer of self waiting to be developed. But to recognize these reflections clearly, another quality must awaken. One that allows strength to be seen not just in struggle, but in stillness. And that quality is presence. 8. Mindful presence creates magnetic attraction. Presence is rare. Most bodies are here, but minds are elsewhere, replaying the past, rehearsing the future, missing the moment entirely. Yet it is presence, not effort, that creates true influence. Magnetic attraction does not come from trying to be noticed. It comes from being fully here. When you are present, your attention is undivided. Your movements are intentional. Your listening is complete. People feel this immediately. They may not know why, but they feel seen, heard, acknowledged. The confident woman does not chase attention. She cultivates presence. And attention follows naturally. Presence begins with the body. When awareness returns to breath, posture, and sensation, the mind settles. When the mind settles, energy stops leaking into distraction. Distraction weakens presence. Presence concentrates energy. This concentration is felt as calm intensity, not tension, but clarity. It draws others in without force. It invites trust without persuasion. Mindful presence also deepens connection. When you are fully with someone, without preparing your next response, without judging, without drifting, communication becomes honest. Words land differently. Silence becomes comfortable. Presence also protects confidence. When attention stays in the present moment, comparison loses its grip. Anxiety fades, regret dissolves. You deal with what is, nothing more, nothing less. The confident woman anchors herself in now. She does not borrow worry from the future or carry weight from the past. She meets each moment as it arrives. This presence shapes how she enters rooms, conversations, and challenges. She does not rush, as he does not scatter herself. She arrives fully. And because she is not divided internally, her energy feels whole. Magnetic attraction is not charisma learned. It is fragmentation healed. When presence is consistent, it becomes a signature. People associate you with clarity, steadiness, and authenticity. They trust your words because your energy is aligned. Yet presence alone is not sustained without effort. The world constantly pulls attention outward. Distractions multiply. Demands increase. To remain present over time, something deeper must support it. Something built through repetition, patience, and commitment. That support is resilience. 9. Resilience is a practice, not a trait. Resilience is often spoken of as something you either have or do not have. This belief disempowers growth. Resilience is not inherited. It is cultivated. Every time you face discomfort without collapsing, resilience strengthens. Every time you recover instead of retreating, it deepens. Every time you begin again after failure, it matures. The confident woman does not wait to feel resilient. She practices it. Resilience begins with acceptance, not passive acceptance, but clear acknowledgement of reality. Denial drains energy. Acceptance conserves it. When difficulty arises, she does not argue with what is. She adapts. She adjusts expectations. She finds footing where others resist. Resilience also requires patience. Growth does not move at the speed of desire. It moves at the speed of integration. Lessons repeat until they are learned. Rather than becoming frustrated by repetition, the resilient woman becomes curious. She asks what is still being missed, what is still avoided, what is still resisted. Each repetition is not failure, it is refinement. Resilience is strengthened through consistency, small daily disciplines, returning to center, recommitting to values. These actions seem simple, but they compound. Under pressure, habits reveal themselves. Those who train resilience in calm moments stand firm in storms. Resilience also includes rest. Endurance without recovery becomes depletion. The confident woman knows when to pause, when to replenish, when to step back, not as weakness, but as strategy. She does not romanticize suffering. She learns from it, then releases it. Over time, resilience creates quiet confidence. You trust yourself not because you expect ease, but because you know you can adapt. You know you can recover. You know you can endure without losing essence. This trust changes how you face the unknown. Fear still appears, but it no longer decides. And when resilience is embodied, something shifts again. Presence becomes stable, strength becomes reliable, confidence becomes grounded. Yet even resilience must be guided. Without direction, it becomes endurance without purpose. With direction, it becomes transformation. And that direction comes from something deeper still, something that shapes how effort, discipline, and inner power converge. 10. Boundaries are essential for sustaining confidence. Confidence cannot survive without boundaries. Where boundaries are weak, confidence leaks. Where boundaries are unclear, self-respect erodes quietly, one compromise at a time. Many confuse boundaries with distance or rejection. They believe setting limits will make them appear cold, selfish, or unkind. But boundaries are not walls, they are definitions. They define where you end and where others begin. Without boundaries, energy is scattered, attention is drained, time is given away without intention. And when energy is constantly depleted, confidence slowly collapses. The confident woman understands that every yes carries a cost. Each agreement consumes time, focus, and emotional capacity. She chooses carefully, not because she lacks generosity, but because she understands value. Boundaries protect inner resources. They preserve clarity. They allow space for rest, reflection, and alignment. Without this space, the mind becomes reactive and the heart becomes resentful. Resentment is often the result of unspoken boundaries. When you repeatedly allow what feels wrong, the body remembers, the mind tightens, confidence fades, not because of others, but because self-trust has been broken. Setting boundaries begins internally. Before you communicate limits outwardly, you must recognize them inwardly. What drains you? What supports you? What aligns with your values? What violates them? Clarity precedes communication. The confident woman does not justify her boundaries excessively. Over-explanation weakens authority. She speaks calmly, firmly, and without apology, not to dominate, but to remain aligned. Boundaries also require consistency. Inconsistency invites confusion. When limits change based on mood or approval, they lose meaning. Consistent boundaries create reliability, both within yourself and in how others relate to you. There is discomfort in setting boundaries, especially at first. Guilt may arise, fear of disapproval may surface, but this discomfort is temporary. The confidence gained is lasting. Each boundary honored strengthens self-respect. Each limit upheld reinforces identity. You begin to trust yourself again, and when self-trust is restored, confidence becomes stable, not dependent on circumstances or people. But boundaries alone do not create influence. They preserve energy. What you do with that preserved energy determines how it moves through the world. When energy is aligned rather than scattered, it begins to resonate outward. And that resonance is felt before it I understood. 11. Inner harmony radiates outward, influencing others effortlessly. Harmony within creates coherence without. When thoughts, emotions, and actions align, there is no internal friction. Energy flows cleanly. Presence becomes steady. People feel harmony before they hear words. It is sensed through posture, tone, timing, and stillness. It creates ease in others without effort or intention. Inner harmony is not perfection. It is agreement with yourself. You are no longer divided between who you are and who you pretend to be. There is no internal argument to maintain an image. This agreement creates authenticity, and authenticity is magnetic. When inner conflict dissolves, confidence no longer needs reinforcement. You are not managing impressions. You are simply present. This presence influences without persuasion. The confident woman cultivates harmony by observing inner contradictions. Where values conflict with actions, tension arises. Where emotions are denied, imbalance grows. Harmony requires honesty, gentle, uncompromising honesty with oneself. When inner harmony is present, reactions soften. You respond rather than react. You listen rather than defend. You move with rhythm rather than urgency. Others sense safety in this state. They feel seen without being judged. They feel heard without being analyzed. This creates trust. Influence built on harmony does not dominate. It invites. It does not convince. It aligns. Harmony also stabilizes leadership. Decisions become clearer. Words become measured. Silence becomes comfortable. There is no need to rush outcomes. Inner harmony transforms conflict. When others bring chaos, it does not infect you. When others bring emotion, it does not overwhelm you. Your state remains steady. This steadiness influences environments. Rooms quiet when you enter. Conversations slow. Tension dissolves. Not because you demand it, but because coherence invites coherence. Yet harmony is not passive. It requires maintenance. Life constantly challenges alignment. Distractions pull attention outward. Pressure tests integrity. To sustain harmony, effort must be applied, not forcefully but consistently, and that effort takes a specific form, a form that bridges intention and reality. 12. Self-discipline is the bridge between intention and action. Intention without discipline remains imagination. Discipline without intention becomes rigidity. When intention and discipline unite, transformation begins. Self-discipline is often misunderstood as punishment or restriction. In truth, it is devotion. Devotion to what matters most. Devotion to the future you are building. The confident woman does not rely on motivation. Motivation fluctuates. Discipline remains. Discipline is choosing alignment over comfort, repetition over impulse, practice over excuse. Each disciplined action reinforces identity. You become what you repeatedly do. Confidence grows when behavior matches intention. Self-discipline creates trust within. When you follow through, self-belief strengthens. When you break promises to yourself, confidence weakens. Discipline restores integrity. It is not about doing more. It is about doing what is necessary. Consistently, quietly, without drama. The strongest discipline is simple. Daily routines, small commitments, repeated actions. These compound into stability. Discipline also protects harmony. Without structure, energy disperses. With structure, energy consolidates. When discipline is aligned with values, effort feels meaningful. Resistance decreases. Progress becomes steady. Self-discipline also refines boundaries. It clarifies priorities. It determines where energy flows and where it does not. The disciplined woman does not wait for perfect conditions. She works with what is available. She adjusts without abandoning direction. Over time, discipline becomes freedom. Freedom from distraction. Freedom from inconsistency. Freedom from regret. When intention becomes action, confidence no longer needs reinforcement. It is lived, and when confidence is lived consistently, something deeper begins to form. A wisdom that no longer seeks validation, but simply expresses itself through being. 13. Vulnerability, embraced wisely, strengthens influence. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as exposure without protection, openness without discernment, softness without strength. This misunderstanding causes many to armor themselves emotionally, believing that confidence must be guarded, defended, and concealed. But true confidence does not shrink when vulnerability appears. It expands. Vulnerability, when embraced wisely, is not weakness. It is courage refined through awareness. To be vulnerable is to allow yourself to be seen without surrendering your center. It is not revealing everything to everyone. It is choosing honesty without self-betrayal. The confident woman understands this distinction deeply. She does not hide her humanity. She integrates it. When vulnerability is denied, energy becomes rigid. Emotional armor may feel protective, but it isolates. It blocks connection. Influence weakens because people cannot relate to perfection, but they resonate with truth. Influence grows where authenticity lives. Wise vulnerability is intentional. It is not impulsive emotional release. It is measured openness guided by clarity. The confident woman senses when vulnerability will deepen connection and when it will dilute boundaries. This discernment is critical. She understands that influence is not built by impressing others, but by allowing them to feel safe in her presence. Vulnerability creates this safety. It signals honesty. It dissolves hierarchy. It invites trust. When someone shares a challenge without collapsing into it, strength is revealed. When someone admits uncertainty without losing direction, authority increases. When someone acknowledges fear without surrendering to it, respect deepens. Vulnerability becomes a bridge. The confident woman uses vulnerability to align, not to seek validation. She does not expose herself to be liked. She opens herself to be real. This reality gives her words weight. Her presence becomes credible. Her influence becomes grounded. People trust those who do not pretend. They follow those who are integrated. Vulnerability also strengthens self-connection. When you allow yourself to feel without judgment, internal conflict softens. Energy once used to suppress emotion becomes available for awareness. This awareness refines influence further. There is also restraint in wise vulnerability. Not everything needs expression. Some experiences are meant for integration, not performance. The confident woman knows the difference. She chooses depth over display. Vulnerability without wisdom becomes chaos. Wisdom without vulnerability becomes coldness. When combined, they form quiet power. This power does not dominate. It resonates. And resonance is felt beyond words. Yet vulnerability alone does not sustain influence. Openness must be guided by clarity. Without clarity, vulnerability becomes reaction. To guide vulnerability, another faculty must be sharpened, the ability to see without interference. 14. Observation is more powerful than reaction. Reaction is automatic. Observation is cultivated. Most people live reactively, responding to life before understanding it. Emotions arise, words follow, consequences unfold. Confidence erodes not because of circumstances, but because awareness was absent. Observation changes this dynamic. When you observe, you step out of the current. You see the movement without bane. She's swept away by it. This distance creates choice. Choice creates power. The confident woman observes before she responds. She notices tone, energy, timing. She senses what is happening beneath the surface. She listens not only to words, but to silence. This observation sharpens perception. Reaction consumes energy. Observation conserves it. Reaction narrows awareness. Observation expands it. When someone challenges her, she does not immediately defend. She watches her internal response. She notices tightening, impulse, emotion. She breathes. This pause transforms the interaction. The pause is where mastery lives. Observation also dissolves unnecessary conflict. Many battles are fought not because they matter, but because reaction demanded expression. Observation reveals which moments require engagement and which require release. The confident woman does not need to win every exchange. She chooses alignment over dominance. Observation refines emotional intelligence. You begin to see patterns, repeated behaviors, predictable triggers. This insight prevents surprise. When nothing surprises you, fear loses power. Observation also turns inward. You watch your habits, your tendencies, your inner narratives. You notice when old stories attempt to guide new situations. Awareness interrupts repetition. Through observation, you become less predictable, less reactive, more grounded. Your responses become measured, precise, effective. Others feel this immediately. They sense stability. They feel that you cannot be easily manipulated. This creates respect. Observation also reveals truth without emotional distortion. Situations appear clearly. Decisions improve. Timing sharpens. Confidence rooted in observation is quiet. It does not rush. It does not explain unnecessarily. It acts when action is required, yet observation is not passive. It is alert stillness. It is readiness with awe. UT tension. Maintaining this state requires discipline. Attention must be trained. Distractions must be noticed and released. Observation matures into insight. Insight becomes wisdom, and wisdom reshapes how effort is applied. Because once you see clearly, the question is no longer what to do. The question becomes how to act consistently. 15. Gratitude transforms fear into courage. Fear contracts attention. Gratitude expands it. Fear focuses on what might be lost. Gratitude anchors awareness in what already exists. This shift is subtle but powerful. The confident woman does not eliminate fear. She transforms it. Gratitude is not denial of difficulty. It is recognition of capacity. It reminds you of what has already been endured, learned, and survived. When fear arises, gratitude reorients the mind. Instead of spiraling into threat, awareness returns to support. Support creates courage. Courage is not absence of fear. It is movement in its presence. Gratitude fuels this movement by restoring perspective. When you recognize what is present, fear loses exaggeration. When you acknowledge growth, doubt weakens. Gratitude stabilizes emotion. It grounds the nervous system. It slows reaction. It softens resistance. This calm creates bravery. The confident woman practices gratitude deliberately, not as a habit of politeness, but as a discipline of perception. She trains her mind to see strength, opportunity, and lesson. This training compounds. Over time, fear becomes a signal rather than an obstacle. Gratitude decodes the signal. It asks, what is this fear protecting, and how can I move forward wisely? Gratitude also strengthens resilience. It reframes struggle as development, loss as refinement, delay as preparation. With this perspective, courage becomes sustainable. Courage rooted in gratitude does not burn out. It renews. It also deepens humility. Gratitude reminds you that progress is supported by many forces, not just personal effort. This humility prevents arrogance while preserving confidence. The confident woman walks forward with appreciation, not entitlement. This attitude keeps her adaptable. Gratitude aligns effort with meaning. Actions become purposeful. Risks become calculated. Fear becomes fuel. And when fear transforms into courage, confidence completes its cycle, not as performance, not as posture, but as wisdom lived daily. 16. Confidence is built through daily small victories. Confidence is not born in grand gestures. It is cultivated quietly, patiently, in the spaces between action and reflection. Every small decision, every subtle choice, every minor commitment contributes to an invisible reservoir of strength. The confident woman does not wait for monumental successes to feel capable. She understands that the accumulation of small victories forms the foundation for unshakable confidence. Each time she honors a promise to herself, completes a task she hesitated to do, or faces a minor fear and persists, she deposits trust in herself. These victories may appear insignificant externally. They may go unnoticed, but internally they compound. They reinforce integrity, self-reliance, and resilience. Over time, they shape a person whose confidence is steady because it is earned daily. Small victories also refine awareness. When you notice your efforts, observe progress, and acknowledge even minor accomplishments, you begin to see patterns of growth. You begin to see that action, however small, is the bridge between desire and reality. This perspective changes behavior. Fear diminishes, motivation becomes internal. You are no longer dependent on external recognition. Confidence emerges as a natural byproduct of persistent practice. Daily victories also teach patience. They reveal that mastery is rarely instantaneous. Success is iterative. Confidence built in a day is fleeting. Confidence built through deliberate repetition endures. The small acts of courage, speaking up when it is uncomfortable, choosing clarity over convenience, showing restraint in challenging circumstances, accumulate like stones, forming a solid foundation. On this foundation, larger challenges can be faced with steadiness because the body and mind have been conditioned to respond to experience rather than impulse. Reflection magnifies this effect. Observing how consistent small victories alter perception creates awareness of the patterns shaping life. The confident woman tracks these patterns, noting progress without obsession, noticing improvement without arrogance. Importantly, small victories train presence. Each step requires focus, attention, and alignment. There is no room for distraction when acting deliberately. Repetition strengthens not only competence but also awareness, grounding confidence in reality rather than imagination. Small victories also transform self-perception. When you consistently meet your own expectations, your inner voice becomes supportive rather than critical. Doubt is tempered by experience, and fear is softened by familiarity with persistence. This cumulative effect is subtle but profound. Confidence is no longer an aspiration. It becomes a lived reality, rooted in action, anchored in habit, and visible in poise. Yet confidence alone is not sufficient. Confidence must be expressed through alignment with inner values and awareness of external realities, and the next step emerges naturally. 17. Your inner dialogue determines your outer expression. Every thought, every reflection, every judgment we hold internally filters into action externally. Your inner dialogue, whether supportive, critical, reactive, or reflective, creates the lens through which you navigate the world. It shapes POS, pure tone, choices, and interactions. The confident woman cultivates an internal dialogue that aligns with truth and integrity. She observes the stories she tells herself. She notices moments when self-doubt arises, when fear dictates, when comparison distracts. She does not suppress these voices, but witnesses them with discernment. Observation transforms inner chatter into conscious communication. Awareness allows her to select which narratives guide her actions and which are released as irrelevant or limiting. Over time, she strengthens the habit of internal alignment, where thoughts harmonize with intention. The power of dialogue within extends beyond thought. It shapes emotion. Fear, hesitation, and judgment stem from repeated internal patterns. By consciously altering dialogue, the confident woman modulates emotional tone, stabilizing energy before it manifests externally. Calmness, patience, assertiveness, and clarity all radiate from this inner coherence. Inner dialogue also guides decision-making. When clarity is present internally, external choices become decisive. The confident woman moves in alignment with her values, not the whims of circumstance. She does not react impulsively to provocation, because her internal narrative supports patience and insight. Language of thought also affects perception of others. By fostering empathy, understanding, and awareness internally, interactions are enriched. She listens deeply, responds intentionally, and communicates without reactive distortion. The outer world mirrors the inner state. This dialogue must be disciplined. Unexamined internal narratives reproduce fear, insecurity, and resistance. Conscious cultivation requires daily practice, reflection, meditation, affirmation, and alignment of thought with action. The confident woman commits to this practice consistently. The transformation is subtle at first, she noted. CEES, her posture is more grounded, her voice steadier, her presence more magnetic. People respond differently, not to superficial behaviors, but to the energy generated by integrated inner thought. Inner dialogue also determines resilience. When faced with challenge, internal narratives of possibility, capability, and learning guide adaptive action. Negative or limiting dialogue leads to contraction, hesitation, and loss of energy. By aligning inner dialogue with values, awareness, and gratitude, she converts potential anxiety into focused engagement, transforming tension into flow. Actions become intentional, presence becomes steady, and influence becomes natural. The confident woman understands that mastery begins internally. Outer expression is merely the reflection of cultivated internal discourse. When internal alignment is consistent, confidence is embodied rather than performed. Energy radiates without effort, and authenticity anchors presence. Yet inner dialogue, while essential, is not static. Awareness alone is insufficient without integration into action. Thought must meet execution. Dialogue must transform into lived reality. And this integration is the path toward mastery, the synthesis of wisdom, action, and influence that completes the journey of confidence cultivated in every moment. 18. Mastery of self is the secret that confident women never reveal, but always live. Mastery of self is not a title, an accolade, or an external recognition. It is an intimate journey that begins in the quietest corners of the mind and the stillest spaces of the heart. It is a lifelong practice of observing, understanding, and integrating every facet of who you are, without resistance, without judgment, without the need for external approval. This is invisible power that confident women embody, a force so subtle it often goes unnoticed by those seeking charisma, influence, or authority in the outside world. Yet it is this mastery that shapes everything: presence, action, perception, and influence. To begin with, mastery of self is the conscious awareness of one's inner landscape. It is the recognition of patterns, impulses, thoughts, and emotions as they arise. Most people move through life unconsciously, reacting to circumstances without pause, letting habits, fears, and desires dictate behavior. Mastery begins the moment observation replaces automatic reaction. You notice the subtle tightness in the chest when fear arises, the urge to defend when criticism appears, the impulse to compare when insecurity whispers. You do not suppress these impulses. You allow them to surface, to be witnessed, and to be understood. Observation without judgment is the foundation. It is here that the quiet alchemy of transformation begins. When a thought or emotion arises, you examine it with clarity. What is its source? Is it rooted in reality or in a habitual narrative you have unconsciously repeated for years? Does it serve your growth, or does it subtly undermine your integrity? This is not a single act, but a continuous process, a rhythm of noticing, acknowledging, and discerning. In doing so, the self becomes both teacher and student, observer and observed. Power arises from this duality. Mastery of self also involves the harmonization of mind, body, and spirit. Thoughts alone are insufficient. Presence alone is incomplete. When you align intention with action and integrate emotion with awareness, you generate a coherent energy that radiates outward. This alignment creates a resonance that others feel intuitively. It is not something you project or perform, it is lived, embodied, and unspoken. The confident woman does not need to assert her authority. Her presence conveys it naturally because the internal is consistent with the external. Her movement, NTS, gestures, words, and silences are coherent, deliberate, and integrated. At the heart of self-mastery lies the courage to face one's own vulnerability. It requires the willingness to meet fear, doubt, and discomfort without retreating, without justifying, without masking. To master oneself is to hold space for the full spectrum of human experience within while remaining anchored in clarity and purpose. Each moment of discomfort is an invitation to deepen awareness, to strengthen inner alignment, and to refine the practice of restraint and choice. The confident woman understands that avoiding vulnerability diminishes energy, obscures perception, and limits influence. Embracing it wisely transforms perceived weakness into understated strength. Another essential aspect is the management of internal dialogue. Every belief, every judgment, every habitual thought forms a pattern that shapes perception and behavior. Mastery of self requires intentional engagement with this dialogue. The confident woman cultivates internal narratives that reinforce clarity, resilience, and purpose. She notices when self-criticism or comparison arises and responds not with repression, but with deliberate questioning. Is this narrative true? Is it useful? Is it aligned with the person I choose to be? This ongoing calibration of inner discourse strengthens self-trust, stabilizes confidence, and anchors action in wisdom rather than impulse. Mastery of self extends into emotional intelligence. Awareness alone is insufficient if emotion remains unmanaged. The confident woman learns to feel deeply while remaining grounded. She experiences anger, frustration, longing, or fear without being overwhelmed. She allows emotions to arise and pass, observing them as transient phenomena rather than identities. This practice develops the ability to respond rather than react, to act from insight rather than inhabit. Emotional self-regulation is not suppression, it is clarity in motion. When emotions are integrated, energy flows freely, decisions are more precise, and interactions with the world are more effective. Equally vital is the cultivation of attention. Mastery requires the discipline to remain present, to focus not on the distractions of expectation, regret, or worry, but on the task, moment, or interaction at hand. Attention is the vessel through which mastery expresses itself. Unfocused energy is scattered and diluted. Focused energy, however, is magnetic, precise, and transformative. Through disciplined attention, small actions accumulate into meaningful outcomes. Awareness of attention itself becomes a superpower because it allows you to direct energy where it has the most impact, rather than being drawn unconsciously into cycles of reactivity. Self-mastery also involves the integration of experience. Life is a continuous flow of lessons, challenges, successes, and failures. The confident woman does not allow external events to define her sense of self. Instead, she extracts insight, aligns with principle, and applies understanding. This integration transforms past difficulties into wisdom, turning moments of fear or doubt into stepping stones for growth. She reflects deeply without dwelling, learns without judgment, and acts with intentionality. The past becomes a teacher rather than a chain, shaping present action with clarity and grace. A further dimension of mastery lies in energy management. Energy is finite, and how it is expended determines the quality of presence, the strength of influence, and the steadiness of confidence. The confident woman carefully chooses where to invest attention, effort, and emotion. She recognizes draining interactions, unnecessary distractions, and habitual resistance. By conserving and directing energy strategically, she sustains presence, clarity, and intentional action across circumstances. Mastery is, in part, the art of moving through the world efficiently, without internal friction or wasted momentum. Patience is another pillar of self-mastery. Transformation is gradual. Growth is iterative. The confident woman cultivates endurance, understanding that mastery cannot be rushed. She allows the rhythm of practice, reflection, and integration to unfold naturally. Each repetition of discipline, each act of reflection, each encounter with self-awareness compounds subtly yet profoundly over time. The patience to observe, to practice, and to refine without craving immediate results is a hallmark of mastery. It transforms struggle into learning and repetition into progress. Mastery of self also manifests in relational intelligence. A person who has mastered herself interacts with others from clarity rather than projection. She communicates with precision, listens with presence, and influences without force. Her authority is not imposed, it is recognized. Others respond because they sense the alignment between her internal coherence and her external expression. Her energy guides, her calm steadies, her insight illuminates, not because she commands it, but because she embodies it. Central to self-mastery is the practice of humility intertwined with confidence. To master oneself does not mean assuming superiority. It means recognizing the limits of perception, embracing the vastness of learning, and maintaining openness to growth. The confident woman acknowledges what she does not know, embraces curiosity, and allows space for evolving understanding. This humility strengthens influence rather than diminishing it, because it signals authenticity and presence without pretense. Self-mastery culminates in freedom. The freedom to act aligned with principle rather than reaction, to choose thought of a habit, to engage with the world from clarity rather than fear. Freedom is not the absence of challenge, but the presence of choice. The confident woman moves within life's complexity with awareness, discernment, and poise. Her presence radiates assurance because it is anchored in internal coherence. Her actions carry weight because they are deliberate. Her influence is lasting because it is embodied. The most remarkable aspect of self-mastery is that it is largely invisible. Others may not see the hours of reflection, the careful observation, the emotional regulation, or the disciplined alignment of thought and action. Yet its effects permeate everything: presence, voice, decision-making, relationships, and influence. It is the secret that confident women never reveal explicitly, because it cannot be handed over. It must be lived. It must be internalized. It must be embodied. And in this living, mastery becomes a subtle but powerful force that shapes reality without declaration, guides choice without assertion, and anchors confidence without performance. Mastery is ongoing. It is a rhythm, a practice, a life lived in alignment with principle, observation, and awareness. There is no point of finality, only continuous refinement, deepening understanding, and expanding presence. Each day offers opportunities to observe, integrate, act, and grow. Each interaction is a mirror, each challenge a teacher, each moment a canvas upon which the confident woman expresses internal coherence. Through this practice, mastery becomes habitual, effortless, and radiant, guiding influence, shaping perception, and cultivating presence in ways that words cannot fully describe. The secret, therefore, is simple, yet profound. Self-mastery is lived, not spoken. It is the invisible architecture behind every confident action, every magnetic presence, every steady decision. It transforms vulnerability into courage, observation into insight, and discipline into freedom. Those who cultivate it quietly become unshakable, not because they seek power, but because they have aligned every layer of self with clarity, awareness, and principle. It is a power no external force can diminish, and a presence no superficial judgment can sway. Mastery of self is the ultimate form of confidence, hidden yet manifest, silent yet deeply influential, lived yet never fully revealed. And it is the invisible foundation upon which all other qualities are built. True confidence is not an image projected to the world, nor a performance measured by recognition or applause. It is the quiet mastery of self, cultivated through awareness, presence, discipline, and courage. It grows in silence, in reflection, in the careful choices made daily, in the vulnerability embraced wisely, and in the alignment of thought, emotion, and action. It is rooted in patience, sustained by gratitude, sharpened by observation, and strengthened by every challenge faced with clarity. When confidence is lived from this depth, it becomes unshakable, magnetic, and enduring, not because it demands attention, but because it embodies wisdom, integrity, and authentic power that naturally radiates and transforms every space it enters.